Hello, hello, and welcome to the Fire Tuna Club channel. This is Kat. Today we're going to be doing some upcycled crafts of just things you can find in your craft room, hanging out anywhere, maybe even in the kitchen, depending on what you want to make it out of. So, my old pin cushion is more than 5 years old, and it looks like this. It was made out of scrap fabric, sewn together, hot glued together, found some foam laying around. You know, it was just whatever I had. And it was that. It's too big. It barely fits in my drawer. And really, honestly, I find it tedious just to drag around the house when I'm working on projects. So it's time to make a smaller one. And I had this in mind when I started looking for pieces of the project, which makes it that much more different when I get started, as opposed to this one that was just whatever was lying around when I decided I wanted a pin cushion. So keeping in mind that I want it smaller, here we go. My end product is going to look like this, but let me go ahead and show you how I put this together using materials I found around the house. Unfortunately, this was a project I already had partially done, so I can't show you my process of making the pincushion base, which was just a circle of material I really liked that I gathered by hand, and then I stuffed it full of some rest in peace teddy bear fluff. I also managed to find a lid off a jar that was going to be thrown away that was perfect for the base. This can either be, you know, like a peanut butter jar lid. Whatever you do, just make sure that whatever glue you use will not melt your base. And for the bottom material to cover the base, just pick whatever you want. I chose that rather dim looking corduroy because I wanted it to actually not slide around when I had it on stuff. And I have a silicone mat for my hot glue gun because I am really bad with the hot glue gun, but it's really not required. Just make sure that the work surface you're on can deal with things or scrapes or whatever might happen while you're crafting. Now, you don't have to use a hot glue gun. That's what I used. You could either use like a fabric tack or multi-purpose glue. Just read the label and make sure that it doesn't react with the materials that you're using. Some glues do actually melt plastic. As you can see here, I'm setting up for the project, waiting for the hot glue gun to warm up, and testing out what kind of cuts I need to make in my material to fit the base. Now, that's what the marking pencil is for. When you hot glue the base to the fabric, you may actually hot glue it in the wrong spot, so I gave myself a marking point. So when I do actually lift it to glue it and put it back, I don't put it back in the wrong corner and then end up short on one side. While you're waiting for your hot glue gun to be ready, take the material you cut from your base material and then clip the edges. This keeps it from bunching up and giving you trouble when you're gluing down later on. Following your placement lines, you can glue your base onto your material. Just make sure that you get a good coat near the edges so it doesn't lift later. Because if you're anything like me, it's gonna drive you crazy if your fabric starts puckering. So just take a little bit of extra care when you're doing it now so it looks even better later. And a heads up, don't use corduroy. The idea had seemed good at the time, but I have animals and I forgot how wonderful fur sticks to everything. So there's no way I'm gonna be able to keep that one clean. But it should work for the gripping that I want. So to continue on, you want to go ahead and start gluing around your base and slowly putting your material on piece by piece, depending on what glue you use, because I'm using hot glue so I can't just go around the whole thing because the glue will dry out before I actually get to the end. If you're using a multi-purpose glue that has a slower set time, do consider that you will need to put something on there so that your material doesn't come loose while the glue is drying. Either way, plan accordingly to how fast your glue will either cure, dry out, or take to set. So glue around the entire base. With the magic of video editing, I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. And I might have lied, I sped it up a lot. So, now that your base is done, and your top is done, you can go ahead and put them together. Now, I haven't glued it yet. I was testing it out, making sure everything fit right and it looked good. And the fun part came is when I got to smush all the glue on there. I kind of went a little crazy, and I'm lucky that I made it through this entire project without burning myself. Trust me, I wasn't joking when I said I make a mess with the hot glue guns. I have come out with so many burns. As you can see, I kind of got ahead of myself. I didn't even wait for the hot glue to be all dry before I was sticking needles into it. Then I sat and thought about it and wiggled and tested, and it was a little loose. So, you should do the same. Give it some time to set and then check it out later because I wanted to make it sure that it was nice and tight at the edges so that no needles would disappear under the pin cushion, and it was also important for me to make sure that nobody could reach under the edges to rip off the top. So there you have it, an upcycled pin cushion. All you have to do is look around the house and see if you can find something similar or come up with your own version of it. Now, if you caught my dirty fingers during the video, I was painting before and after I was making this project. And here is a preview of what I was working on. If you want to see some more upcycled crafts, don't forget to like or subscribe and just leave a comment if you have any suggestions you want to see. Thanks for watching!